I know persons would have taken their lunch breaks from their busy schedules to join us today. So let me just say, first and foremost, welcome to our attendees to the Arthur Lok Jack Global School of Business webinar on leveraging productivity with AI. Today, our session is being moderated by Dr. Balraj Kistow, and we're featuring speakers from the Performance Lab Managing Partner, Mr. Adam Montserin, and from it's Valenta, David.
Yeah.
And he's also a managing partner over there. They are going to take you through some of the practical applications of AI, what it means for persons in various industries, how it's going to shape the future of work. And they're going to give you insights, based on the work that they have been doing. So let me turn the floor over real quickly to Dr. Kistow.
Thank you, Umesh, and good afternoon, everyone. Great to see you all here today. As Umesh said, I'm Dr. Balraj Kistow. I'm a lecturer and program director at the Arthur Lok Jack Global School of Business, and I'll be a moderator for today's session, leveraging AI for productivity. And this is a very topical issue. So when Umesh brought this to the front, I said, let's run with this because I think it's important for us to explore, given all the ramifications and the buzz around this. So artificial intelligence, or AI, refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think like humans and mimic their actions. The term may also apply to any machine that exhibits traits associated with a human mind, such as learning and problem solving. The concept has skyrocketed to the top of the curiosity chart with the launch of ChatGPT on November 30th, 2022. In just 4 days, by December 4th, it had over 1 million users, and the buzz of disruption in all spheres of life, from finance and real estate to IT and healthcare, and even writing movie scripts, became real. Not to be left out, Google showcased its emerging AI Bard, which did not perform as expected, and it caused Alphabet shares to lose $100 billion overnight. According to the analysis done by Accenture and Frontiers Economics that was presented at WEF Forum earlier this year, labor productivity in developed countries could increase by 40% due to the influence of AI. As automation advances, fewer unskilled workers will be required by industry, raising the question of what will become of these workers. According to McKinsey, 15% of companies in the global automotive industry recorded an AI-related decline in their workforce of 2 to 10% in 2019. And approximately 10% of these companies even exceeded that number. What is clear is that AI and its impact on daily life, education, and careers in general is not going away. We can either learn to use it to enhance our worlds or be blown away by it. It is within this context that we are here today to discuss how we can leverage AI for productive gains. And we have able panelists today. Today, our panelists consist of two experienced and well-known persons in the industry. So first, let me introduce, in no special order, Adam Montserin. He is a managing partner at Performance Lab Company, an experienced transformational leader with extensive successes in organization development strategy, and organization performance management. He has experience in working with organizations and institutions in Trinidad and Tobago, the wider Caribbean, Central and North America, and has industry experience in finance and insurance, government, national security and police, tourism, manufacturing, education, construction, information and communication technology. And Adam has been at this for quite a while, I know. And then we have David De Oliveira, managing partner at Valenta Caribbean. And so Valenta is a global provider of digital transformational services. And they provide comprehensive digital transformation strategies to enhance your business efficiency, profitability, and competitive advantage through the application of innovative technologies through hyper-automation, robotic process and automation, artificial intelligence, data extraction, and conversational AI. So without further ado, let me pass you over to our panelists. And first I would invite Adam to make his opening statement, and then over to David. So Adam, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Kistow. Pleasure to be here. Great to see so many people logged on to this very, 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 very important topic. I want to suggest, Dr. Kistow, that we let David go first. I'm going to look at it from a slightly different perspective. We're going to look at the topic from a slightly different perspective.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the organization perspective because I know that most persons or many persons who have logged on really are trying to figure out how the organization can adopt and adapt AI. David's approach, I think, will share some of the successes that he's experienced or he's enabled for organizations. And then I will talk a little bit about the how in terms
Part
of
it. Not a problem.
So David, you want to take the show over,
Sure.
and then I will
No
bring up the
problem.
Ray.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, man.
All right, so quickly, Valenta fundamentally focuses on increasing profitability and optimizing processes within business, and then implement automation on top of that, along with staff augmentation. So we operate in about 19 countries across the globe with development centers in India, Malaysia, and Colombia. And for us, automation is the technology allows anyone to configure computer software, which we call bots or robots, to emulate and integrate the action of a human interacting with digital systems to execute a business process. So automation utilizes the user interface to capture data and manipulate applications just like a human do. What's unique about what we do is that we don't integrate into the back end of your applications. So the same way that a new employee coming into the business is trained to follow keystrokes to complete a process, you log into an application, you log into a module, you review data, you transpose data, you analyze data. The bot follows the same steps, step by step, keystroke by keystroke through the front end. So this allows us to interpret trigger responses and communicate with other systems in order to perform a vast variety of repetitive and structured tasks. So the benefits customers have seen over our implementations that we've done, at least in Trinidad. The first one is cost savings. So we have one customer in the insurance industry where by automating just one accounts receivable process with a bot, they were able to save 23 employees that the bot was able to do the work for. However, to my surprise, almost every other customer that we've engaged on both the private and public sector are not seeing this from a cost savings perspective. What they are realizing is that their staff are spending 60 to 80% of their time doing mundane, boring tasks, which are low value to the business. Things like a bank reconciliation as an example. If the bot is able to do those tasks substantially more efficient, they can elevate their staff to do more high value activities for the business. What this also does is improves employee morale, because no longer employees doing boring tasks, and they have a more fulfilling career and able to grow within the organization. Because the bot works 24/7, right? The limitation of the bot is that it can only perform functions sequentially once it's scheduled. But you can keep adding processes to the bot. So you can have one process scheduled at 2 a.m. every morning. You can have another process scheduled the first Friday of every month between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. And as your business needs change, you can quickly adapt the utilization of the bot to prioritize based on your business needs. From a customer satisfaction perspective, we have technologies that have a direct correlation to customer satisfaction using conversational AI technologies, which we'll talk about. From compliance, companies are using it to meet regulatory requirements and compliance issues that they may have in the industry. And the bot is able to do a significant portion of those tasks, once again, allowing the employees to focus on higher value activities. Flexibility, it allows the bot to manage peaks and troughs in a business. So no longer does an accountant have to spend all of the time at the end of the month working late hours to get reports out. If the bot is doing information real time throughout the entire month, 24/7, right? A very small fraction of work needs to be done at the end of the month in consolidation. So it allows them to change the way they work and also remove peaks and troughs from businesses that have peaks within different times of the year. Like one customer, a freight forwarder, 7 times volumes of their business happened in 2 months of the year compared to every other month. By implementing the bot, what we were able to do is allow them to grow their business exponentially because they already had the staff to cater for the peak. Now they can grow their business by expanding their warehouse size, and the bot is able to perform the functions real time throughout any day of the month, any time of the year, removing all of the peaks and troughs. From a quality perspective, the bot follows keystrokes step by step based on how it's trained. It cannot veer from how it's trained. As a result of that, the bot is guaranteed to make 0 errors. Humans make errors when they miss steps along the way. And obviously this improves the quality of deliverables that the bot would do. And then the productivity gains come as a result of the combination of all of these moving forward. So for us, the 3 areas that we focus on the technology is robotic process automation, conversational AI, and cognitive AI. I'm not going to go into CRM and ERP. Many companies provide that, and there's no real differentiator, but we can provide it. So for robotic process automation, think if you've just hired a new employee, you're training the employee to follow a serial keystroke to complete a task. Once the process follows these 3 criteria, the bot is able to do it substantially faster, more efficient, with 0% errors, and is able to work 24/7 and have no time off. So the process must be structured, it must be repetitive, and it must be high volume. And once it meets those 3, we guarantee customers are going to have a return on investment in days and weeks rather than years. I'll play this quick video that summarizes.
Welcome to Valenta AI. RPA, or Robotic Process Automation, is where software robots emulate human interaction. RPA robots can capture data and use applications just like humans do, at a fraction of the cost, and they never sleep and are 100% error-free and love mundane tasks. RPA is an extremely important technology component in an organization's tech stack. It allows organizations to transform the way they operate. It increases productivity and has several other benefits, such as eliminating human error, reducing turnaround times, reducing operating costs drastically, and much more. At Valenta, we have RPA developers that can support organizations either through managed automation services or act as an extension of an organization's center of excellence. For more information,
so this is an example how it's actually used in an RPA process in accounts reconciliation. So we have one customer that does accounts reconciliation, bank reconciliations once a month and once a week. They do monthly, they do weekly. And the bot is able to do it 15 times faster than the staff is able to do it. But because the bot is able to work 24/7, it's actually doing it 100 times more efficient. Because most employees work 5.2 hours of actual work a day. The bot is working 24/7. That 15 times accelerates the efficiency by allowing 24/7 utilization of the bot.
Valenta AI. The bot logs into the QuickBooks application. The bot changes the organization's name and navigates to the banking roll screen. The bot fetches details of the transaction. The transaction data is matched with the VDB. Based on the roles, configured bot reconciles these transactions either through direct match, find and match, or by adding a new entry. The bot adds each transaction details to the report tracker, and generated report is later shared with the user. The bot sends an email to the account team with the generated report.
Okay, so the second technology is called conversational AI, and this is an evolution of the older chatbot technology. So the old chatbot technologies that are prevalent today, they're reactive, They only work on one domain at a time, which is normally a website link. And you have limited channels that you can usually use. The evolution today is where you move to an avatar that is able to learn with every single interaction it has. So if it has an engagement with me, it learns from what I have requested for the service, and any other customer that has follow-up engagements is able to proactively offer certain services that they may not have. In addition to that, is able to do it on multiple mediums at the same time. So an example, if I'm calling a bank to get a bank balance on my checking account, the bot will basically confirm who I am using the relevant security checks. Once it's confirmed it, they advise Mr. Dollar, your bank balance is $12,200. Would you like any additional services? And I said, no. And then the bot holds me and says, Mr. Dollar, I noticed you don't have a credit card with us. Would you like to see a video on our credit card service? And I said, sure. And the bot says, I'm going to send you a WhatsApp message to the phone number you call me on. Please send me your email address so I can get it correct, and I'll send you the actual video via email. So he sends me the WhatsApp message, I send my email address, and then he sends the video via email. Using multiple mediums at the same time to interact to make the entire experience more human-like, which improves the adoption rate of the technology moving forward. So this is a quick example of how it's used.
Thank you for calling PepsiCo's deflection bot. How can I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for some coupons.
To find coupons for your favorite PepsiCo products, respond with your email to the text message I am about to send you. I'll stay on the line so we can talk on text and phone at the same time.
Great. So you can text me and talk to me at the same time. That's pretty cool. Okay, got the text message. I'll give you my email address now. Okay, there you go.
Perfect. I just sent your coupons to your email. Do you need help with anything else?
No, I'm all set.
Glad to be of service. Feel free to reach out to me anytime if you need additional assistance. I am sure we will talk again soon. Have a great day.
And this is the evolution of the technology today, where you use avatars.
Welcome to Valenta AI. Digital people can help you connect with customers in powerful new ways. Financial assistants who are responsive and engaging and interact with customers in natural languages provide better customer experiences overall. Meet Aria. She's a digital hero, capable of interacting and engaging in ways technology has not been able to do until now. She combines technology and creativity to benefit customers. She provides the warmth and connection of human touch in the form of a digital experience to make the overall financial assistance better to the customer.
Thank you for connecting with Valenta Advisors. My name is Zoe and I am your virtual assistant. Please provide your client ID.
56748.
Welcome, Ms. Jennifer. Hope you're having a great day. How may I help you?
I'm looking for my retirement account contributions.
Would you like to see the individual contribution details or combined contributions made year to date?
I would like to see my Roth IRA and 403B contribution details.
Your year-to-date contribution details are as follows.
Can you please tell me what is my employer's match in my 403B account?
Your employer Technova is contributing $750 per month.
Thank you for your help.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
Can you please provide me the balances of all of my investment accounts?
The current balance of your accounts are as follows.
Thank you.
Have a great day ahead. Bye.
Okay, and last technology is called cognitive AI, and it's about extracting data from documents that are not handwritten, right? So we had an example of a customer we launched, a freight forwarder. They were taking pictures of a label on a box, uploading those pictures to a folder, And the bot was extracting data from those pictures of the labels and putting it into the applications. And this is done for PDF documents, it's done for Word, for Excel, email. We're able to extract data, populate it in an application, analyze the information, summarize it, and provide it to the supervisor. In this example, in a 2-minute video, the bot is going to go through 110 supplier invoices. It's going to extract data, 15 fields of data from every single PDF invoice, put it into Excel, format it. It'll do a quality check on the data by checking an invoice with the data extracted. It will look for the lowest cost supplier, and then it will summarize it and send it to the supervisor, all within 2 minutes. So on the left-hand side is a folder with all the invoices. So it's going to start by scanning the entire folder. It's looking for each of the 15 fields in every single PDF document, and all the documents are different type of supplier invoices. And it, by the way, doesn't care where the information is in the document. So if companies change the format of the documents, is irrelevant. The bot is smart enough to know to look for the key fields anywhere in the document. So on the right-hand side, it's now extracting those key fields. Now it's extracted. It's going to open an Excel file and copy each of the 15 fields for the 110 invoices into an Excel folder and format it. Now it's going to do a quality check. So it's going to pull up an ad hoc invoice and check to make sure the data in the invoice is exactly the data that's been copied into the Excel sheet as the next step. So what's unique about our approach to other companies is that in order to mitigate the risk of success of implementation like this, because people believe it's new technology, and the truth is most people don't believe it actually works how we demo it. In fact, I didn't believe it when I first started until I saw it. What we do, we offer a commitment-free proof of concept. So we tell customers, listen, identify the 2 biggest pain points in your business that if we're able to automate, will have the greatest impact in improving the overall efficiency of your business. We will automate those 2 processes using the RPA bot, and we will build it out in your environment. Only if you decide to go live based on the successful efficiencies that you gain from it, do you start paying us the quarterly managed service fee to move forward. If not, you can walk away with 0 financial or legal commitments to us thereafter. Based on this offer, every single customer that we have engaged in the last 9 months at an executive level have gone to a proof of concept after the first meeting. Every single one, 100%. And every single one that we've completed the proof of concept have gone live with it or currently processing orders to go live. So I have never seen this level of adoption anywhere in my 28 years of experience in the ICT space. The last thing I'll share with you is that the government of Trinidad has a 150% tax incentive for services like this. So companies who implement this are able to claim this back against taxes. So what we are seeing is companies are able, for as low as 3,000 to 5,000 TT dollars per month per process, able to automate critical pain points in their business. And as a result of that, they are seeing returns of investment, not in 2 years, not in 1 year, not in 6 months, but in day 1 from going live, which is nothing I've ever seen, once again, in my experience in implementing ICT solutions. Because most ICT solutions out there, it takes 9 to 18 months to roll out, it takes 3 to 5 years to get a return on investment. This is game changing. And it's the AI technology that's allowing us to change the way that we deliver these services. So that is the end of the presentation. So I'll stop sharing and hand over to Adam.
Yes.
So, thanks, David. So a couple of things I just wanted to highlight based on David's presentation. Number one, AI technologies are delivering tremendous value in I would venture to say, all areas of business. The way that it has evolved and the way the provision of the service as it has moved from a capital investment to a managed service, like what David is explaining, has really put it within the reach of not only large organizations, but small and medium enterprises and even micro enterprises. So the access to the technology is there. The value and the benefits, as you could have seen, it's there. And that's something that, you know, most executives, most managers can simply Google and get a sense of the tremendous value that this thing is providing. So where I want to jump in now is to start to talk a little bit about how have organizations across the Caribbean been adopting and adapting this technology. And from the work that we've been doing across the Caribbean, it is really at a very, very, very infant stage. You tend to find multinationals, organizations in the financial services sector. I think David talked about because of regulations and the need to do things in a particular way, and organizations that are in very, very, very highly competitive industries and sectors really being first adopters. And we have to ask ourselves, why? Why is this the trend in terms of adopting this technology, realizing the type of benefits that's possible, adopting it because it's within reach? Why are we only seeing these large and medium-sized enterprises within only few and specific sectors doing this? And the answer to that from an organization development place that we've seen really comes down to a couple of key points. And these are some key points that you can examine within your organization as you look towards motivating and influencing the adoption of these game-changing technologies. Number one, when we look at organizations across the region, we see that one of the main barriers towards adopting and adapting artificial intelligence, and not only artificial intelligence, but we could step back to data analytics, really is poor strategy. So before we even get to the technology and the technology benefits, and I know some of you listening are really technology folks, we've found that because of the lack of strategy that really focuses on innovation, on competitiveness, on really driving and staying at the top of the game, and the associated mechanisms to do that, organizations really have found themselves in a large part with a very operational and maintaining the status quo type strategy. And so without a strategy that really focuses on development and innovation and improving service and improving customer value in a meaningful way, when the IT manager or someone who has this level of innovative thinking really comes to the table and says, listen, we want to invest and implement, these type of technologies, you often come up against a brick wall. So the first thing that needs to be addressed is not, answering the question as to how AI can deliver benefits and value, but really answering the question is, how are we as an organization really pursuing innovation, really pursuing increased customer value development, and so that really sets the foundation. When you do have a clear strategy, then these things fit into the puzzle. I just want to share a framework. Just give me 1 second. Let me just find. Okay. That depicts a little bit of what I'm talking about. So this is a artificial intelligence or data analytics and a data analytics framework that really outlines what are the foundation, organization development, and digital transformation pillars that an organization must focus on. And so the first part I've just finished speaking about really is that top part that looks at vision and strategy. And so your question to yourself and to your organization, do we have a clear vision and a clear strategy that is pursuing innovation, that's pursuing competitiveness and identifying, which is now the second level there, what are the areas, and we call them use cases, that we can now adopt and adapt various technologies, including AI, to really deliver on our strategy and our business. And so a lot of organizations start the journey on that second block that says use case and AI portfolio and data set without having that first top piece that's really clear and laser focus. And so therefore the cell is a very difficult cell. But in the case where there's a clear strategy, there are clear user cases, meaning we've identified the goals of the organization that really can be advanced through the application of AI, then we have a real driving force towards moving forward with our AI portfolio. We have a really clear driving force that is identifying and ensuring that our data assets are in a place that we can leverage AI and deliver on our strategy. So strategy and then our technology and business delivery comes into place. The third area, and one of the areas that when we look at many of the international studies on AI, including Deloitte and the like, really focus on what is identified here as enablers, but in these studies, really they identify these areas as potential major barriers that an organization doesn't prepare for in its AI journey, as it were. So a lot of organizations that we've dealt with, even if there is a clear strategy towards innovation, delivering customer value, even where there are user cases in terms of business goals that really can be satisfied by AI, you have some major gaps around the enablers. And these are significant barriers. So you may have gaps relating to human skills in terms of capacity, understanding, and in particular culture. And many of the organizations in the Caribbean we found really don't know what they don't know in terms of human skills. So you may be thinking that you're operating at the top of the game, top of the business, or the top of the sector, but really it's because of that lack of awareness and that lack of capacity, that lack of ability to translate some of the advances into business goals. It usually ends up in a situation where you may even adopt some of the technologies, but they do not deliver the business value that's required. Privacy and ethics, having a good understanding and a grasp in terms of what, and I think David would have answered some of those questions there. What are the ethical and privacy considerations that you have to consider and address in terms of adopting new technology? A lot of organizations move towards particular technologies and realize that there are things that they should have considered. And these things sometimes cause significant delays. And then last but not least, in terms of enablers, architecture and technology, in terms of your readiness as an organization. So this is your typical ICT environment within the organization. If these things are not aligned, then you find that your journey towards AI could be significantly challenging in terms of providing required access and having the level of knowledge to get there. So that's the third area. The last area really is the foundation. And for a lot of organizations in the region, because of some of the DNA elements, the AI journey is a very, 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 very difficult sell because of issues relating to organizational development, relating to poor governance, relating to leadership. For example, organizations that we are working with, because leadership and governance have significant challenges, you find that leaders spend 90% of their time not on delivering and implementing organization strategy and introducing these type of technologies to address business goals, etc., but they spend 90% of their time really just fighting fires and addressing issues and addressing late reporting and compliance issues in regulatory industries. So where you have these kind of issues happening as a norm, instead of strong leadership and strong governance, and your IT professional or your vendor comes to the table and says, listen, this can save you tremendous time. You really don't have the bandwidth from a leadership and a governance perspective to be able to adopt and adapt these type of technologies. So we have to ask ourselves, what is our governance like? What is our leadership like? And do we need to do some work to improve these areas so that leaders are now focused on strategy, so that strategy is now focused on innovation and creating value and identifying real goals that we can address and deliver. Last but not least is culture from a DNA perspective. And a lot of organizations that we've worked with have major challenges relating to the organization culture. And by no far stretch of the imagination, the culture can be defined as a high-performance culture where members of staff, employees are really looking forward to new ways and anticipating the use of new tools to be able to deliver more and create more value, and do it in a particular way that is developmental. Instead, many organizations are really, really challenged by cultural dynamics that are sometimes characterized by, tremendous lack of motivation, inertia, lack of trust, resentment. And so when these types of technologies are really being thought of and really being put on the table, they are being evaluated in this context. And as a result, it goes either nowhere or it goes very, very, very slowly in terms of both the introduction as well as the adoption and adaption. So, that saying that foundation is foundation, no matter what we come new with, it applies here. AI is a new technology that is moving organizations worldwide forward. There's no doubt. David would have shown some phenomenal advances in terms of his organization and what they deliver. And there are many other organizations that also do that. But unless as an organization, we are putting ourselves in a position to be able to adopt and adapt, it becomes a very, very difficult journey. So for those of you that are in leadership positions listening to the call, it really is about paying attention in particular to that very, very top piece and that very, very bottom piece to create that environment, to create the possibility, to create the strategy and the focus that would now allow for these things to become much more successful within the organization. Okay, so I just thought I'd share that. I know that I'm from speaking with David prior and some of the work that we've been trying to do together. Once you're able to move in that direction, the benefits can be phenomenal. These are the things that you need to address in order to move in that direction. Okay, so back over to you, Dr. Kistow, that's my 2 cents.
Yes. So
We'll take it from there.
So I think, thank you both for your presentation. I think it really helped us to contextualize and see in a real sense, how we can actually leverage AI to make our businesses better. So I just want to go straight into some of the questions here from the audience here. So one of the first questions we got early on, what does a company need to have at a minimum to start automation and adoption of the AI process? And the question is open to either of you all here.
So I want to take it from the technology place first, and then I'll take it from the organization.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So I can start from the technology area. So one of the approaches, the approach that Valenta uses is quite unique as well. Because what we've seen in the past, there's when you go into a lot of the consultancy, you spend a lot of time on building out your plan, and at the end of it, you get a document that tells you what's wrong with your business, and you haven't started fixing anything as yet, right? And this may take 6 to 9 months to complete, and may cost you, a couple $100,000 at the end of it. With our approach, what we do, once customers identify where their pain points are, we have a process walkthrough with the customer, with the people who actually do the process today. And we record that process walkthrough on a Teams call. So basically, they share the screen, they log into the application or applications, and they talk through each step that they go through the entire process. As a result of that, we take that and then we share that with our business analysts. And our business analysts come back within a week and say, okay, we reviewed your process, how you have it today. And we believe that we can optimize the process by doing these things before we automate it. And these are our recommendations. And once you agree to it, they sign it off. Then we build out a PDD document, which is basically a process workflow document of how you do it today. So you don't have to have those documents prepared. Many organizations may or may not have it, most don't, right? By using the video, our team can create that for you. Once we create it, you basically identify, okay, we've captured everything correctly, or you need to make these changes. And then we create another document of how it will be once you build out with the bot. So a to-be document. We share that with you. Once again, you basically tell us, okay, you want this, you want the corrections, we sign it off. And then you give us access to the environment. And the access is basically username and credentials to be able to allow the bot to access the applications the same way that you would give a new employee starting the business, right? Once that is done, we will build out the environment, configure it. We'll create test data, and we'll create a video, exactly what you've seen in our presentation, of the bot doing it in your environment, showing exactly how quickly it's doing it. And then you do user acceptance testing from there. And at that point, you can do the ROI analysis to say, okay, this is improving my cost by this much. This is improving my employee morale by this much. This is improving my customer experience by this much. So whatever the KPIs that you define that you want to measure success by, you're able to do that because you're actually seeing it live being used in your environment, being utilized. And once you decide to go live, you just sign the contract and then you move forward. That entire process is taking us, I would say, between six weeks, I would say, to 10 weeks on average from start to finish, which is substantially faster than I've seen for most even ERP application implementations, right? Yeah. And because it's focused on specific pain points, you get the return on investment on that pain point. So you're not looking for return on investment on a broad strategy, which may take a couple of years to actually receive. And then this is actually used to fund wider strategies for wider investments. So your bigger digital transformation strategy, which is a 3 to 5 year window, right? This can help fund some of those by getting these savings today with these pain points is funding the wider digital transformation evolution within the business.
Yeah. And then just adding to what David said there from his perspective, with the managed service, it means that you really don't have to have a big capital investment. So,
but you have no capital investment.
Well, correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from a technology perspective, technology is there. From an implementation perspective, it's short term. From a capital investment, it's
All
recurring.
OpEx. Yeah.
So the requirements, Dr. Kistow, is very low. So there's very low barriers to adoption, you know.
Right.
But there are two things that David said there that I want to just pick up on. So he talked about two things. He talked about pain points and KPIs. He said, you know, once you've identified your pain points, the process is very short term, it's very direct, it's tried, it's tested, and then you can measure in terms of your ROI based on KPIs that you have. Now, what we've found is in order for you to know what your pain points are, in order for you to know what your KPIs are, you have to have a sense of what your business goals are.
Absolutely.
You have to have a sense of everything in the whole world that's happening and a 10-year plan and a 5-year plan. But you must at least know, listen, I have to improve this. It's costing me money. It's costing me customers. I'm either losing customers, I'm losing money, or I'm operating above standard operating costs. You must have that type of, you know, strategic focus, at least that. If you don't have a strategy, you must at least be clear on what are the business goals that your pain points are going to address. The risk in not having that is, despite its low barrier to adoption, you may adopt something that you believe from where you sit is a pain point, but it really isn't contributing strategically to your success. So what we would recommend is spend a little time ensuring that your pain points that you're seeing translates to business success once it's addressed. And that could be done in a little as a week to 2 weeks. And then you can get into you. So within a couple months, you know, from start to finish, you can really ensure that you're addressing business focus. The other areas I talked about, the culture and those other things, those are for ongoing success, ongoing maintenance in terms of continuing, you know, your evolution as well. Yeah, so those are some of the bigger things. I wouldn't categorize those under minimum, but if you don't address those, sooner or later, it's going to affect you.
Right. So one of the other questions we spoke about, we see here, and this was always topical to, you know, when you're speaking about business process and operations and so on.
Right.
You know, what about bringing in AI? But when you are in an unionized environment, and you have change in personal rules and function in order, how do we get around that?
Sure. So actually the implementations we're doing today are both unionized, non-unionized, private and public sector. So I think this falls under the category of most of the engagements, as I said, people are not using this from a headcount reduction perspective. They're using it from, improving the quality of the careers of the employees, improving employee morale. So once again, letting the bot do all the boring stuff and let the employees basically do more higher value, more challenging and exciting work. So yes, you are changing the scope of the role of the employee, but it's the same employee and it's more fulfilling as a result of that. And in all the engagements, the employees who are the owners of the processes today are involved in the POCs, the proof of concepts. And they are so eager to get this thing implemented because they are seeing the value. And this is employees of customers that are unionized, this is employees of customers that are in the public sector, in the private sector, so it doesn't matter. The excitement and the drive, and we have meetings twice a week for 10 to 15 minutes with each customer. And they are those meetings every single time prepared. I have never seen that kind of excitement in adoption of technology. Technology is seen as a cost of business and no benefit to the specific employees themselves. Yeah. Or this is seen as real benefit because it's transforming the way they do their job and make it more exciting and more fulfilling and more challenging. Yeah.
The only thing I would add to that, Dr. Kistow, is that all organizations must evolve. Right. Whether you're in a unionized or non-unionized environment, and the changes that are being introduced need to respect, in the case of a unionized environment and otherwise, our industrial relations practices and our industrial relations laws. That doesn't mean that it prevents that evolution from happening. It means that the evolution must happen within the context. And so that's another challenge that organizations must prepare themselves. How are they going to evolve within the context, respecting our industrial relations laws? But it can be done, and it is being done.
Yeah.
It really depends on how we are approaching it, and that's the key in a nutshell.
Yeah. I think engagement upfront with all stakeholders is critical to success.
Right.
So whether it's industrial relations, end users, management, all stakeholders, I think, need to be involved and appreciate what the end goal is and what we're trying to do, and remove any potential misconceptions that this is being brought in to take a job. Right. Because it's not necessarily the fact. There are some areas where it is, but based on my experience in the last 9 months, 94% of customers are not seeing it from that perspective.
Right. One of the participants also, I think he wanted a little more explanation of what do you mean by the AI portfolio. I think it was Adam, you raised that in your framework there.
Sure.
So, and the question is, what does AI portfolio look like as an asset in the company? And I guess maybe they're asking, so in short, how do we see that AI portfolio? Well, what is that concept?
Yeah, it's the equivalent of whether it is your data analytics strategy, whether it is your IT security strategy. It's your plan as to how are you moving from corporate strategy to business goals to AI technologies. So we recommend that you don't approach the AI journey as a one-off venture. So there may be instances and circumstances where you have a really, really challenging situation where you may adopt one particular AI solution. But because of the power of AI and because of its scalability and its ability to really address many, many, many organizational goals, there is a strategic synergy that can be developed. So for example, with David's organization's technology, you may be looking at it from the perspective of financial reporting and creating a tremendous efficiency in that. But it could also address many other needs. And if you look at those needs from a systemic perspective, you would say, okay, this is our journey. This is where we want to start. And this is the portfolio or the group of things that we want to implement in the short, medium, and long term, as the case may be. So it's really coming up with that strategic approach to AI as opposed to just cherry picking one.
Right. So it's again a holistic perspective, having your blueprint and actually seeing now this is where AI can help. So you take a broad perspective, and I guess that way too you'll be able to identify where you can get the best value for money, because you will be able to see where you will get the greatest value in the whole. And I guess it goes back to that whole strategic perspective.
But I want to recognize something David said. In the Caribbean, in particular, we tend to think about strategy and a strategic approach as this long 4-year, 3-year process. That's really a thing of the past. So you really have to at least break it down to annually listen. What will my focus? What do I need to address? And then look at your adoption of AI along that at least an annual basis. Rather than trying to look 3 years down the line where the environment has changed so significantly. To at least short to medium term and develop your portfolio.
So would you say that approaching the AI, because one person saying that you'd have seen it being approached from a holistic perspective, as well as say within a department or area, how would you recommend that be done given given a strategy that should push AI for productivity?
So the question is whether it should be holistic.
Well, I guess what I'm really trying to figure out, what conditions should we look for in terms of using it as holistically as opposed to departmental area?
Right.
What should determine that choice?
Well, I would answer that question in two ways, right? Number one would be an ideal way, and number two would be more of a realistic way. So ideally, of course, it is better if you're really looking at your organization strategy, your growth, where your pain points within that, right? But in reality, many organizations, as I mentioned, really don't have that in place. So what do you do? And in that case, you really have to prioritize based on what's really important to your business. What's important to your business could either come from something that is terrible that's happening. So, for example, one of the organizations I'm working with, I was talking to David about this even up to today, facing tremendous fines, hundreds of thousands of US dollars every year, because it's a financial institution, and they are late in terms of financial compliance reporting. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. Huge problem because it's costing the organization a lot of money. It's going to translate in terms of their insurance sector rating, whether the AM Best or whatever it is. So without a strategy, they know that they must solve this problem.
Right.
And so that's, to me, something that can be done through cherry picking. Or there may be something in terms of a market differentiator that you're seeing in terms of the provision of a service. Let us say if you can provide an intuitive service because of customer demand and customer complaints 24/7, and that's something is going to drive business and drive revenue, definitely. So ideal, strategic, but it can be very, very focused as well.
Like I said, any level you approach it is still strategic because you it is always strategic because that's a big issue that affects you later. It is strategic. And one area, one person you have here too speaks to the adoption of AI from a private versus public sector. What have been your experiences with that?
I actually asked David that yesterday. David, go ahead.
No, for me, it's actually agnostic. I really expected the public sector to be, the adoption rate to be a lot slower. And I would say that some of the customers we engage in the public sector are probably as eager or more eager to get this thing implemented. Again, was news to me. So I don't think it matters whether it's public or private sector. I think once they can see, as Adam said, the core objectives and KPIs of the business can be fundamentally achieved and improve the rate at which you can get there by implementing these different things. The adoption is crazy, and the prioritization is going to be the issue, because once you start engaging, every department is going to want to build it out for their departments. So as an organization, unless you have a strategy, as Adam said, prioritizing how is this linked to my KPIs for my strategy, right? You're going to be going on in circles, and yes, you're going to be doing a lot of automation, but it may not be prioritizing based on getting the best return for the business, based on your alignment to the goals. So the executive needs to say, okay, these are the priorities, and if it's 100 processes, this is how we prioritize 100 processes over the next 9 months, as an example, right? So it has to be based on the executive's decision to prioritize that, because every department is going to want to push for their area. IT is going to do it for them. Finance is going to want to do their processes, because every one of them have pain points that's going to make their job, a lot easier, and it's going to work for them. But as a business, you must prioritize the greatest returns first, as far as the actual impact is going to have on achieving the goals of the business. And that's something that customers are having to do, both in the private and public sector.
Okay. So I see we're approaching one, but in 30 seconds, what would you say a company should focus on in leveraging AI for productivity gains in 30 seconds?
Adam, I'll go first.
Well, ideal clear strategy that identifies business goals and what must be addressed in terms of improving or achieving those business goals. And then what is your portfolio of AI solutions that can achieve that? And so that's immediate. Ongoing, you have to develop this culture and your leadership and governance framework that really is about innovation, is about driving value, whether it is public or private in terms of customer or stakeholder value, or it may be internal value in terms of employees and employee engagement. That's a foundation piece. I was really happy to hear that in some of the examples, David talked about members of staff being as excited as everyone else. And that's fantastic, but that's not always the case. You have persons disinterested and not willing to support. And so in addition to a clear approach, your foundation, culture, leadership, governance, these are the things that must be addressed on an ongoing basis for success.
Yeah. And for me, once the goals and objectives are defined and the KPIs are defined, as part of our engagement process, for every industry, every department in a company, whether it's finance, HR, customer experience, we have tools that help customers identify every single process in every functional area and which ones have the highest automation potential. So you need to link that with what your specific goals are in your business and the maturity levels you are at in the organization in that department. So different companies, no matter what industry they are, there are different maturity levels. And once you identify that, we can work with you to help you identify where the areas potential to get the highest return on investment first. And then once aligned to your goals and your KPIs, start with those and then go down the list, one after another as you go down.
Yes, so thank you both David and Adam for sharing this with us today, because a lot of time we hear AI in the context of a fear factor, or that is coming to take over our job, or that is going to be so transformational and disruptive. And we know that's a side to it also as the technology moves forward. We all this thing with driverless vehicles and all of those transformational and adaptive processes and so on. But it's good to take it from the perspective of what we have now and bring it down to the ground level to see, okay, this is how your business can benefit from AI, what exists today. So, and so that's why we team this leveraging AI. And so let me thank you again for sharing that and giving us those practical examples. And let me also thank our audience for being here today. And I hope that it will be beneficial. I know Umesh would have put a link for you to give us your feedback. And if you have additional questions and stuff, feel free to send it through Umesh or any other link through the school. And we would be sure to pass it on to our panelists to give us some feedback. So enjoy the rest of your day, everyone. Thank you for being here and hope to see you all in future engagements in business and productivity and all that is engaging and contemporary. So good afternoon and see you all.
Thank you very much.